Mr. Leo Tilman, just going through your bio very quickly. This is a preview of a much bigger podcast that I would love to do to talk about all the brilliant things that you're doing. But I want to hear a little bit from you about the summit and knowledge. And how does that work with everything that you do, from risk to, today you need to understand, I'm sitting with someone who worked with the largest multinational organizations, taught at the leading universities around the world. You're an author of 4 books, right? And you work in fields that are very interesting to me, and I think very interesting to a lot of the audience when it comes to risk, finance, strategy, all of those fantastic things. Tell me a little bit about the summit, and what does that summit tell you about where this region is heading?
Absolutely. First of all, thank you for having me. Great to be here, and look forward to a more extended conversation. This region excites me to no end. It's the deliberate adaptation to this new world, the investment in technology, but also openness to new ideas. And I think this summit is a culmination of all of these different themes. I'll give you one example, and it's from the speech I'm about to give to close the summit, and we call it the knowledge paradox. And the knowledge paradox is that on the one hand, there is infinitely available data and information, anything you can possibly imagine, through searches and large language models like ChatGPT, etc. But on the other hand, everybody will tell you that they're almost drowning in that data, and they don't quite know when they ask a question what kind of answer they get. Is it true?
Information.
Is it not true? Is it the best possible knowledge? Is it not the best knowledge? So the theme of the curation of knowledge that happens after you have all of this information is becoming really, really interesting. So when you advise large organizations, but when you talk about, just yesterday at the summit, they talked about knowledge as a human right and the ability to bring knowledge to small and medium enterprises. Now, the vast majority of things that people like me have perfected and invented, etc., were done for very large organizations, governments, militaries, companies. For the first time ever, there's an ability to bring that knowledge to the real economy that drives 60% of growth and employment and everything in between. So, but it requires a very different conversation on, you already have ChatGPT and you have all of these other things. What lives on top of them? And who is the person or people or organizations that will curate the best ideas and put it on top of large language models, etc. So I'm going to talk about a AI agent that we're training to be the world's expert in strategy, risk planning, and things like that, bringing together best ideas from business, from finance, from the military, from government, all together, and then supplying it to decision makers. So can you imagine, for the first time, the knowledge that was previously only available to the leaders of large organizations being brought to people who manage small and medium enterprises, and they can be now exposed to the best ideas in risk and strategy, etc. So the point about the knowledge paradox, the need for curated knowledge, and how it all interacts with technology on the one hand, and disruption and uncertainty and accelerating change, is kind of the realm that we live in, and it's exciting. I was just talking to someone, and I talked about the beginning of my career, which was in the early 90s on Wall Street, where you felt the kind of intellectual excitement of inventing the quantitative finance and risk management. We are at the same kind of intellectual juncture, but now with entirely different tools, entirely different knowledge, and just exciting.
How exciting is the world, do you think, over the next 1 to 2 years, as those changes are rapidly increasing in speed?
On the one hand, there is incredible amount of development and innovation that is happening, but on the other hand, it's really overwhelming. I think it's overwhelming for individuals It's overwhelming for organizations. It's overwhelming for the whole societies. So sometimes you have conversations with folks who are monitoring certain societies in certain economies, and they will describe things as paralyzed or on hold, where folks are so overwhelmed by everything going on, and the speed of change is such that they would rather not move. They would rather not act. And so the question then becomes, how do you bring kind of order and the right information into this process so that, human beings are not overwhelmed by everything going on?
Leo Tilman, I don't want to stop. I really don't want to stop, but I'm aware that you have a closing speech that you have to make now. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being at the summit.
Absolutely.
And I hope to see you soon for a much longer podcast where we can talk about all of those brilliant things that you said, but in details.
Absolutely. We'd
Thank
love
you.
to do that. Such a pleasure.
Thank you.